I think Rajiv this will be very good insight, right? Because I believe for most of us that have been in the IT BPM industry, we all at some form or some part in our lives dealt with Six Sigma, right? As a concept. And there is the voice of process, there's the voice of customer, and a lot of people, right? They think of NPS and all that stuff, right? But the process they don't even look at, right? So the process can only deliver so much. So having said that, Rajiv, from an EXL perspective, given that you're responsible for digital, how do you bring that? How do you bring that all together when you're talking about, okay, how do I make my teams collaborative? Given that there's this first, there's the company culture, there's the millennial groups, all that, right? I mean, in the IT BPM space, that's very interesting because you will see the age groups of the people you work with based on the references that they give you, right? So what are your thoughts, Rajiv, in terms of your experience from a digital perspective?
So I completely agree with Coach that the design of the team is very important from the start. If the design is incorrect, I don't think so you will succeed later part of the day. You might to a certain extent, but you might not achieve the right goal or right objective. That's what I feel as well. But there are certain platforms, and I will take a step back and give you an information about the digital command center or nerve hub, which I'm leading in this digital vertical. There are different solutions which are part of nerve hub, and there are different tools and platform which comes to design the process as well now. So if you check out that process or the journey of that process, you rightly mentioned that we focus on NPS, we focus on business outcome, we focus on customer outcomes, but we forget about the right process as well. But there are different tools and platforms which are available. And one of them is, process intelligence tool, which is part of our Nerve Hub, which is one of the solutions to check the process, whether there is any bottleneck in the process, where there is any gap in the process, so that you can check and, get that root cause and obviously get it corrected as well. So that's what it, but, after the process design, it is about team environment, which is the key as well, whether the environment of that team is right or not. Whether you have set the realistic goals and the expectations within the team, everyone has agreed on those expectations, everyone is working on those expectations, and then they support the team spirit. How is the team spirit? Whether team spirit is high, low, or how you're investing in those team skills, whether through trainings, whether through e-trainings, learnings, or what are you doing to improve the team skills, to build that team. So that is much important. And again, I will say, that with Anant, we have tied up and we have seen good result after the platform which has come as AI coach, again into Nerve Hub. We have seen a great results and benefits out of that.
You're on mute.
Actually, I think you're on mute.
Sorry, Rajiv, thank you for that. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of organizations are really invested now, the time and energy to have a digital, hub. Because somebody needs to bring it all together. Because I remember Coach was saying that, if you're the coach, there are certain things that you want to really focus on, right? But then you need all of these, and you need it from a digital perspective, right? Because at the end of the day, you've got operations, you've got clients, you've got reviews. Absolutely. So they need someone like you that will bring it all together and help everybody else in the organization understand in the context of what's important for EXL. And I think those are some of the key things that for the viewers to see, it's really critical that you have the right teams. Because if you don't have that, who will lead it? Will it be ops? Right? Will it be IT? But they have different things that they already monitor on a day by day. So somebody needs to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. So that's fantastic insight, Rajiv,
And I'll just take another minute to talk about Nerve Hub, which is the solution for us. As you rightly mentioned, that we need one platform where you can see everything. So 3 objectives of this Nerve Hub is managing operations, which is the most important thing. There are different tools for workflow allocation. There are reporting for your frontline staff. There are reporting for your managers, how your KPIs, SLAs are looking. Those are managing operations. All those dashboards coming from different systems gathered together and showing it in one picture. That is what we call managing operations. The second is how's engage. How's you're engaging your frontline staff and other staff. That's where, Anant's voxogo team is working on AI coach in engaging and giving us the results. The third is the evolve. How will you evolve? How will you generate insights? How will we reach into business outcomes or the customer outcomes which you're looking for? For that, we have different tools like process intelligence I talk about to check the process and the other solutions as well. So in a nutshell, last bit, the Nerve Hub or a digital command center gives you one platform which will manage your operation and digitize your operations as well.
Right, right. Thank you for that, Rajiv. I think that's a lot of people or a lot of organizations are now working towards that. Some are ahead than the others, but
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time. You need to have something like that. Otherwise, it will be extremely difficult and paralyzing even if you don't have those at
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
disposal, given the situation that we're in. So, Fernand, from your experience, now that you're really, I think your services, your technology, your platform is becoming an integral necessity in how you run day-to-day operations. How do you encourage folks who have not gone down that journey? How do they start?
So again, see, engagement, obviously we have done through AI coach, but the nudges which that tool gives or that platform gives to our frontline staff, it's all positive nudges. First, I will say that, and that thanks Anand for creating like that, because that gives the motivation to the agents who are at the low performance. They will get nudges to perform so that not only them but the entire team gets benefit out of that and get to performance to the specific goal or the objective which has been set for it. Then the next level is they get motivation as well, through that, because they know that how they're performing, how's the other person, how's the team member is performing. They get all those details. Third bit is the incentives or the gamification part which we get into that tool, which gives them the rewards and recognition as well. As soon as they perform high, they will get rewards and the recognition as well. So that's 3 points which increase their motivation and increase the performance.
All right. Thank you, Rajiv. So let me just jump on that and ask Anand. Anand, from your perspective, I know Rajiv mentioned about gamification. From your perspective, how important is that in a platform, so to speak?
So, and it's interesting. Rajiv spoke about gamification because, and I'll first start with the bad news. There was this study done by McKinsey, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, which said 80% of all gamification initiatives fail. Okay, and we were quite surprised by it, but completely agree with it because the one thing that gamification products or gamification solutions do is it's a one size fits all, right? If I am a 60% achiever, if you tell me I'm 40% away from target, there's no ways I'm going to want to do more, right? If I keep telling you, saying, hey, you know what, you're a 60%, do 40% more, or you're a 50%, 50% more, that's not really motivating me to act. And this is a recent book that's come up, so I'm just talking. You spoke about the infodemic, Natalie, so I'm just. It's called Indistractable by Neer Eyal, which talks about the power of focus. Okay, so gamification brings in some ways, it engages the individual, but doesn't motivate each individual the way it's supposed to. I'm driven by competition, so I'm happy to compete with Rajiv or with Coach or with you, Natalie, right? You might be driven by mastery. You want to get better because you feel that you feel happy and feel excited about your job when you see, okay, last week I was at X, today I'm doing 2% better. That's what motivates you. So, and I think the real answer is around behavior design. Since we spoke about this, there are three aspects to it, which is you need to have the empathy for the user, you need to design for action, and you need to trigger it at the right point. So gamification doesn't do that. Gamification will give you a one size fits all. Yeah, you have points, badges, leaderboards, and stuff. But what again? This is not a plug, but I think it's important to understand that distinction is if I am motivated by, also like I gave an example, like Natalie you're motivated by mastery. A leaderboard's not going to do anything for you, right? So that's how you should think of it as a behavior layer on top of everything else that you have. So design thinking, you can call it that, you can call it using nudges, whatever it is, but it's fundamentally looking at how can you empathize with a high performer in your team, somebody who's a middle performer in your team, and someone who's neither of the two, right? How can you empathize with each one of them digitally to make them do 1% better today than yesterday? Over a few weeks, you have your entire team acting. So that's what our engine does. There are about 70 different persuasion techniques or nudges, like Rajiv said, we use, which personalizes and empathizes with each individual in a team based on what their productivity levels are. So am I a high performer, medium performer, consistent guy, or a low performer? Secondly, it understands what motivates each one of them. So it's going back to what an assistant coach or a team leader does. You're keeping an eye out on the entire team and figuring out, saying, how can I motivate that guy in the team, and then pass on that information or insight to the team lead for them to do better.